Yeah, I really struggled with this one. I was like, okay, all I can make sense of is like, all right, we have an enemy. The enemy is the photo. It is snowing in the photo. The photo is also placed in the snow outside. It is away from our speaker. Is uh, the we can get into the like the photo is the representation of a real thing. Is that like is it the representation of the real thing? That's the enemy.
Well, and I mean, no, I have no idea, but like in terms of just an example of what I'm saying, in terms of like this kind of structurally failing at almost every level, he is 100% evil and good looking. He looks good. It is like it's repetition that does nothing, right? He is 100% evil and good looking. He looks good. And it's the same thing on like the one we just went over. So the very first poem that starts the collection, right, where she's
Well,
like,
I mean, I think it's that thing
hand,
that she's
hand,
doing.
hand, hand, day, believe
Right. I
anything,
mean, I would
anything,
push against
touching,
this and say that
touching.
it's trying to build on that sentence. And also, I'm not a po like I think repetition is a big thing in poetry, right? Like we use it a lot.
Yeah.
It's whether or not you do so successfully. And I would say like I don't know if that caesura after he looks good is needed because then it would read he looks good in his parka in the snow. So yeah, I don't think it does that much more except sort of reiterate like it emphasizes this particular image and the speaker's feelings towards the image.
Yeah, and listeners, people that are just listening and haven't read this, there's no punctuation. There's no punctuation beyond the caesura uh, kind of standing in here. And it's used way too liberally, in my opinion. It's all over the place in terms of the caesura structure. But yeah, that's another thing where I'm just like these kind of like the repetition here when he said he's good looking, he looks good, is the same as like that kind of like in that air of ruthlessness in spring, the first poem on page 3. I'm just having a little fun, not much fun at all. Like all this kind of like repetition. It doesn't do what like because what is repetition usually used for? I guess we should say power, emphasis, sometimes sound if you're doing a good little sounding thing.
Yeah, I also think saying someone's good looking and saying someone looks good are two different statements. But
Right
it
after
doesn't
one another.
feel, yeah, but it also doesn't feel like it's doing that much in this moment.
Well, I would say it's doing nothing. So if we cut that entirely, he is 100% evil and good looking. Shizora in his parka, break in the snow. If Shizora, if you asked Shizora, he would call it a helmet. Shizora, all he ever does is lie. Like it wouldn't matter at all. Like that's my whole point with that example, like that. Whereas, like you said, to basically just prove your point is what you're the point you're making. Whereas in the first poem, in page 3, that air of ruthless things, I would grant your point in that where I'm just having a little fun, not much fun at all. That changes it a little bit more than just the kind of he is 100% evil and good looking. He looks good. Like it's a little bit different. So I would say like the use of the repetition in that first poem is more successful. Although those first couple lines when it repeats hand 3 times, you know, I don't think it works well there. But yeah, just to say, yeah, your point is taken there for sure.